Good evening, folks. I'm back, Gay Gunsmoke, and we'll be cooking some home-style, deep South Southern cooking. But first, my book of the week, My Jihad. It's a really good book. It's a romantic tale of forbidden love. It's about a young Catholic Muslim boy who falls madly in love with a hippie Mennonite cougar. Sounds devilishly delightful already. The Muslim boy's name is Mohammed Goldberg, and he lives with his grandma in the deep rural South. He falls in love with a Southern Mennonite woman by the name of Portia Mercedes. She catches his eye one day while walking her two Vietnamese chihuahuas. It's quite the love story of romance, suspense, and a whole lot of baby's mama drama. You can buy this or rent it at your local library and tell them Gay Gunsmoke sent you. Remember, My Jihad. So, we're going to get to cooking now. I'm going to try and set this camera back to where you can see it. I want the best angle, though. Let's see. Is that a good angle? No, it is not. It's not a very good angle. Eventually, folks, I'll get the camera positioning right. Oh, yeah. Well, that looks pretty good. So you'll at least be able to see me somewhat chopping, cooking, blah, blah, blah. So, if you had watched my live stream earlier, you would have known I went to Walmart. I got some Lord's seasoning meat. This is what's going to go in your cabbage. Cooking cabbage, you're going to have to chop it up. Turn the extra light on. So you can season your cabbage however you want. I generally just use meat. I don't put other spices in it. Well, today I'm actually going to put Mrs. Dash. So there will be some Mrs. Dash. That'll probably help. I've already washed my hands. I would suggest doing the same. Once you finish with your meat, I immediately put it in the freezer or the refrigerator. Probably not able to see him, but here's my friend. Oh yeah, you can see my friend. I actually don't have a name for my friend. So I've already pulled the outer leaves off of the cabbage. So this will be the good part. And you can cut your cabbage however you wish. I'm probably not going to use the entire head of cabbage. Because that's a lot of cabbage. I'd be eating cabbage for days if I ate all that. You can fill up this whole pot, and once it cooks down, it's like that much. So I'm going to drop some, whoever will be watching this, drop some ideas. Let me know what you want to watch next time, whether it be dares, pranks, cooking shows, clothing overhauls. I'm more down with the pranks and the challenges, the dares. But I do like to cook. Obviously, one day I need to do a makeup overhaul. I'm not too good at putting on the makeup, right? Yeah, it's not even makeup. It's actually just face paint. Oh, yeah. Julia Childs and Gordon Ramsay would be proud of me. Oh, yeah, you know what, folks? I was wrong about the seasoning. There is other seasoning. In conjunction with your meat seasoning and your Mrs. Dash, you put in your cabbage, whatever you want to put in it. But this Goya seasoning, that's the bomb. And Mrs. Dash is always the bomb. Mrs. Dash. Ooh, ooh. No salt, too. And if you want to spice it up a little bit, you can always use accent. Hence the name, accent. But as I said, cooking is whatever suits your taste, right? You know what would be a great overhaul? Taking this face paint off. I bought this face paint. And they said it's kids' face paint. See the Goya comes in little packets. Kids' face paint, it doesn't come off so easily. How do little kids take it off? Oh, yeah. It's not actually ham, just ham flavored. But the people who are vegetarian and they don't want to put meat seasoning in their food, then Goya is the way to go. Maybe Goya will see my video and sponsor me. I'm rich now. I don't think I'll get rich off of Goya though. I said I wasn't going to cook all the cabbage, but it looks like it'll all fit, so I probably will cook it all. Next, we'll be cooking fried squash. And pretty much, well, you can fry anything in the South. You can fry pickles, squash, tomatoes, ice cream, candy bars. We fry everything in the South. Except people. We don't believe in that anymore. Maybe in Kentucky or West Virginia, they still eat people in the hills, but not here in Georgia. We got class here in Georgia. We got class, style, and of course, a lot of good cooks. You know who's a good cook here in Georgia? My mom. She's a good cook. I didn't get this healthy from nothing. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to throw this out the door. See, that's how we recycle. Throw all your vegetables out in the yard. It's good for the environment. All your end pieces of vegetables. Of course, now, as I said before, on another video, you could take the end of that piece of cabbage, plant it in the ground, and you'll regrow cabbage. You can do the same thing with lettuce or broccoli or anything that's got a root bottom to it, like an onion or garlic. Cut off the bottom, plant it in the planter, or plant it in the ground. See, already, voila, done. Generally, I try to clean up all the pieces here, because next, I want to get the squash. Squash, I'm not so certain. Yeah, I don't know. You might could cut the bottom off and replant it. Who knows? Give it a shot. I tell you, squash, okra, tomatoes, easy to grow. They all taste good. I mean, squash is like any form of squash. If you like butternut squash, spaghetti squash, acorn squash, crookneck squash, they're all easy to grow and they all taste great. If you're a vegetarian, spaghetti squash is the bomb. Try it. And of course, all squash is good. Is there any bad squash? I don't think so. So anyhow, I'm going to cut your ends off. Ta-da. Generally, I throw them out the door. Squirrels or whatever eat them. If my chihuahuas find them, they'll eat it. Yeah, they love the squash. They actually love cucumbers, peppers, squash, Brussels sprouts. Really weird. Why do these dogs, like vegetables like that? And they love pecans. They'll break them up on themselves. I got to get a Ziploc bag. Now, if you want to make some good fried squash, various people use various things. Generally, I like to use olive oil, but I have no olive oil. It's almost gone, and I almost made a mess. But you can use whatever type of bread you want to use for your squash. I'm just going to go with cornmeal. So you can cut your squash however you wish. I'm having to use a small bag, so I got to cut them in small pieces, as so. I've poured my oil in here. I'm heating it up. You have to get the oil very hot for squash. You only have to cook squash, I don't know, a few minutes. But get the oil very hot. Drop them in there just enough to crisp the bread. Take them out. Doesn't take very long. You season your squash how you want. I love the accent. I put accent on just about everything. A little bit of white pepper. But you season your squash how you want. And you cut your squash how you want. Voila! Some people dip their squash in a batter. They'll make like a milk egg batter so it sticks to the squash better. But for one, I forgot to get eggs. And generally, this would be pretty healthy if I'd have used virgin olive oil. And if you do use virgin olive oil, make sure to read the label. Make sure it's in a very dark bottle. Never buy olive oil that's in a light bottle, because the actual store light or sunlight affects the olive oil. So make sure you're getting the proper olive oil. Really research that stuff. I had to. Bowl's getting hot. And if you don't get your squash in some people use buttermilk. You can use milk and a little bit of egg. It helps the batter stick to the squash. But I'm just going to wet the squash with water. Drop them in the Ziploc bag. Zip it up. You shake it around. So much easier than just doing it by hand. You do want a plate ready. If you have paper towels, use them. That'll help absorb some of the oil or grease, because I am not using a very healthy oil. But I forgot to get the proper oil. I forgot to get eggs and oil. Should have let the grease get a little hotter. But generally, the cabbage doesn't take very long to cook. You also need a fork. Oh, look at those. Now, if you're trying to diet, you probably don't want to fool with fried foods, even if it is in olive oil. Oh yeah, and by the way, I don't own rights to that music if you hear it playing. I'm playing some groovy jazz. I dig the jazz. None of that weirdo music here. Which I'm going to go turn up the jazz. Never forget, folks, on a hot summer's day, which is not that hot right now, I did walk in Walmart, always remember to dehydrate. Dehydrate. Oh yeah, that hits the spot. You know, it's not that expensive either. You can go to Walmart, equate isopropyl rubbing alcohol, it's like $1. I'm telling you, you go to any quality liquor store, buy a bottle of that Everclear, far more expensive. Oh yeah, these are turning out nice. So ideally, you'd probably want some other color, something. I do have rice already cooked. I didn't think I would cook more rice. I have rice with Aurora peppers. I found some at Walmart. I love those. They just, they're not the least bit hot. Yeah, see, folks, like I said, I kind of jumped the gun. I'm a little hungry. I should have let the grease warm up. But that one turned out great. Beautiful. Look at that. Also beautiful. But the others got to warm. So you know, folks, while I'm letting those cook, I have the hamburger and turkey, both lean. So I'm just going to start mixing those up. I don't know, maybe not. The grease is warming up now. But I'm going to make hamburgers, some with my own spices. You spice your hamburgers how you want. This is the reason for paper towel. It absorbs some of that oil. Yes. And the McCormick's Perfect Pinch is the seasoning. It goes on everything, even salads. Great on salads. So you don't really need milk and egg for the batter to stick to it. Works just fine without it. And as I said earlier, it would have been healthy, but you know, not so much now, huh? So I just take these I cut, run them under the water. Throw them in the bag. I do not want this food. I do not want that food in my sink. I don't have a garbage disposal. I can't afford to let that get in the pipe. Always clean behind myself. And I am using an antibacterial soap, which most soap comes antibacterial, doesn't it? I haven't thought about that though. You know, there's good bacteria too. So suppose you're killing the good and bad bacteria. Should have shook that up. Somehow I got a hole in the bag. No problem. These squash turn out right. I let the grease get hot. Ideally, I only leave one squash in there I don't know, maybe a minute. I don't really want it to soak up too much oil. See, those are beautiful, golden brown. It's exactly how they should look. Then, soak up more oil. Just lay more paper towel on top of that. Let it soak up the oil. Always keep the counter clean. Always. Let's clean up for later, right? So those squashes turn out very nice. The cabbage, it'll be done by the time the hamburgers are done. I'm pretty sure the cabbage will be done. Just look at that beautiful cabbage. Ah, smells good too. And the peppers, I'm not really certain I'll even use those today. See, just put it in there for a second. It's been about a minute. My oil is almost gone now. I put in like, I don't know, a quarter cup of oil for just that small amount of squash. It's almost used up. Which is why you really should use virgin olive oil. But, you know, I'm only using what I got. So now, I'm going to use ground turkey and beef. And some people do add an egg to it. In order to help it escape, but I don't have an egg, as I've already said. But I do have bread. You can take like I'd say with this much, I would use maybe 2 slices of bread, grind them up real well, add them, well, you'll see in a moment. See, these I almost left in there a little too long. So if y'all excuse me, folks, I'm going to step outside for just a second, empty this out in the grass. Ha! Yeah, I generally like to just reuse whatever I'm cooking with. First off, I don't like making a mess, but I don't have much room here. House, small kitchen. So I wipe that out real well, get all the oil and the batter out. Put plenty of soap in it. And clean it out real well. I do not want any of that oil to mix with my hamburger. One of the best things in the world is Dawn dishwashing soap. I mean, this stuff is like an all-natural cleaner. It cleans everything. I mean, try it. Sponsored by Dawn. Not really, but it is a good soap. So the squash is finished. That's what it looks like. Oh yeah. And if you want your spices or whatever on it, you can add that later. People want salt, they can add that later. So we just stick this over here where the chihuahuas don't get to it. And as I always say, you can season your food how you wish. Yeah. Mrs. Dash, that goes with everything. I'm going to use a little bit of seasoned meat tenderizer. Cheap knockoff. I don't think meat tenderizers really matter, not the brand name. Some people can get that Adolf meat tenderizer. Adolf. My handy dandy extra bottle of accent. You can never go wrong. Never. All right. Thank goodness I did remember to buy bread. Otherwise, it may not have stuck so well. The bread's going to give it consistency, like an egg would if I had an egg. So you just take your bread, kind of crush it up in there like that. Try not to make a mess. Doesn't really matter if you're cooking at your house because I don't care. Or are they playing some groovy jazz today? You just mix it all up. Yeah, this is going to turn out fine. These hamburgers, sometimes when you use that ground turkey meat, it doesn't like to stick into a patty so well. Especially if you add onion or whatever to it. I don't know if you can hear that jazz, but oh yeah. See? Perfect consistency. Voila. And of course, I got all the other stuff to go on a homemade deep south southern hamburger, such as the lettuce, cheese. I got plenty of butt cheese. tomato, whatever you like on it. I'll probably be adding some of these little peppers. And well, folks, that's it. I don't have enough room for the other. Simple meal, easy to make, doesn't take very long, and I assure you it will be scrumptious. And once again, I didn't use any recipe. I do have recipe books. And I got some right here. I don't know if you can see it, but got plenty of recipe books right there. But generally, I just cook simple meals. Simple, quick meals. I mean, if I'm trying to impress somebody, I'll break out the books. But as far as right now, it's just me and the chihuahuas and my imaginary friends that'll be eating all this. Of course, when I start grilling hamburgers, you never know who will pop up. It'd be like, I smell that hamburger cooking, boy. Okay, you can smell what I'm cooking. Then you probably know I'm good looking. Nah. And before we go, folks, there's definitely one thing that you need. If you ain't got no hot sauce in your house, go get some hot sauce. It don't matter if it's Texas Pete, Louisiana, or Tabasco sauce. Go get some. You need it. I mean, it makes your house feel like a home. Look at this. Cabbage is almost ready. It has steamed down just that quick. So I'm going to turn the cabbage down some. Your hamburgers, you always want to cook them pretty low. Make sure they cook through and through. Which that's on you. If you want to be a cannibal, you want to eat them raw, go ahead. All right. Have a groovy day. This is Gay Gunsmoke.